What's up, guys? Pitmaster here. Ugh. I just wanted to come on and talk a little bit about Halo Infinite. I finished it on Friday, finished the campaign. I was really sceptical about 343 taking over the reins from Bungie when they took over from Halo 3. I didn't think that anyone was going to be able to make a decent Halo campaign after Bungie. And I was sort of right. I didn't really gel with Halo 4. I think everyone's sort of mixed on that one. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the Forerunners. I didn't like the enemies. I didn't like the weapons. And 5 was sort of more of the same but worse. Again, it was more of the Forerunner sort of weapons and enemies. I didn't like playing as Spartan Locke and the whole going after Chief and the whole marketing of it, like, oh, Chief's turned, he's a bad guy. So I didn't like 5 either. So I was very sceptical when Halo Infinite was announced, and I thought to myself, well, this really needs to sort of be perfect. And I think a lot of people were sort of in that same sort of boat as well, because it was like Strike 1, Strike 2, this would be Strike 3. Last Chance Saloon for me. So they released the multiplayer in a shock launch, Shadow dropped it. And the multiplayer is the first time I've actually been sucked into a Halo multiplayer. I absolutely love the multiplayer. I finished the Battle Pass. I'm very, very impressed with the multiplayer. The only downside, I think, is that you can't pick your own playlists. So you can't select a Slayer match, you can't select a Capture the Flag, it's just random. It'll get sorted, it'll get patched, but it would have just been nice to have that choice. The progression was a little bit off. Well, I say a little bit, it was way off. The Battle Pass was felt like it was sort of designed in a way to get people to pay real money to skip tiers. And I've skipped a few tiers, I'll be honest with you. I spent about 30 quid on the Battle Pass. I bought the one that had the 25 tier skips, then I paid 30 quid to skip another 30 tier skips, and then I sort of just used the double XP tokens until I hit 100. The next Battle Pass isn't until May, so I hit the Battle Pass quite early. So I was very sceptical, but the multiplayer was amazing, and I was like, well, okay, this is hopefully, and now we just need to wait and see what the campaign's about. And Halo's always been about the campaign for me. I don't really play Halo multiplayer until this one. This one's totally hooked me, and I'll be playing it regular. And then also before that, we found out there was no online cooperative at launch. There was no Forge. There was no ability to replay missions once you finish the campaign. So with all that, and it was delayed, and then they showed they showed Halo, and then the internet exploded, and the Craig meme was born, and then they went and delayed it again, and then obviously they worked on it for a year. Then they released the multiplayer. Multiplayer was amazing. But with all that sort of like, it's not coming with this, it's not coming with that, it's not coming with this, I was very kind of like, oh, here we go. This isn't good. This isn't a good sign. I can honestly say, this is a really, really good Halo game. This campaign is amazing. I really, really enjoyed it. I was really surprised how much I liked it. It didn't really feel like it had been made by 343, and that was the thing that sort of sold it to me. I was like, this doesn't even feel like a 343 game. This feels like a Bungie game. I was kind of worried about the open world, and I was kind of worried about the side quests. I didn't know if the open world was going to work well in Halo. It does. I didn't know if the side quests were going to be sort of like, I didn't want Halo to turn into this Ubisoft open world Far Cry sort of bonanza. It doesn't. All the side quests are optional, so you don't have to do them. I found myself doing them all. I've cleared the map. I've leveled up Chief 100%. I've done all the bases, all the FOB bases, all the banished camps and all this. I've rescued all the Marines. I've collected all the little collectathons. And I've discovered all the Forerunner artifacts. And there's plenty to do. I think I went into this game, I watched a few reviews, and I kind of took the negatives of what people were saying, and I took it to heart, and I was kind of dwelling on it. And I was hearing that the open world's empty, it's repetitive, there's not a lot of things to do, and I was going, oh God, please no. It's totally fine, you know. There's always something flying over your head. When you're driving along, there's always like little pockets of there's things to do. There's these assassination missions you can do to take out a general or a specific hunter or a deadly grunt and all this. There's loads of things to do and keep you busy. So I thought it worked quite well. I loved the FOB bases. I loved dropping in a Razorback and getting me and like 5 Marines, and just driving around, just blowing shit up. It was fucking amazing. And that was all without, the campaign. The campaign itself, the actual campaign missions are really, really good. The story's really good. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed Chief in this one. Master Chief in this one. Really, you see Chief in a different way that you've never seen him before. He comes across like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. He misses Cortana. He blames himself for not being able to save her. He's got this whole sort of... You see him, he's sort of like quite humanised in this game. It's quite emotional. The tone at the start of the game where, Chief gets absolutely battered. That was cool to see, because you don't really see Chief in a weak state. And I think you do in this game. You see him as like he's pissed off. He's pissed off that he lost. So I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved the open world. I loved the characters. I loved the fact that it was sort of a soft reboot. Now going forward, because this is a 10-year supported game, that we're going to have Chief and this new Cortana going forward. It also, at the end of it, sets up for more single player content, so that's good. The actual map itself, I was expecting it to be a lot bigger, but it's actually not as big as I thought it would be. But when I carried on playing it, I respected it for the size that it was. It was like, it wasn't too big, it wasn't too small. There's a whole area of the northeast map that isn't even, you can't even go over there, and there's no objectives or anything. When you fly over there, it tells you to turn back. It gives you a countdown. So I imagine that's where there's going to be the next sort of pocket of story missions. I was playing it on normal, and I was quite surprised at how hard it is on normal. It's a little bit disappointing that you can't go back and replay missions, even though you can press Y on the map and you can see all the missions there. All they need to do is press, a replay button and select the difficulty, and that's it. You've cracked it. But I'm sure that they've said they're going to patch it in. Obviously, I could sit here and say, well, it's not. It's launched with all this stuff missing, but I'm focusing on what it's launched with: an amazing multiplayer and an amazing single player game. I kind of wish it was longer, and that was with doing all the side stuff. I mean, I did quite a big portion of the side stuff before I actually focused on the campaign and finished the campaign. And then once you finish the campaign, it drops you back in the map, and you can pick up all the little bits that you've missed. So I liked that. I just loved it. I really did. I really did. I mean, I really enjoyed the game. I really enjoyed the characters. I was just, when you're flying around in a Banshee or a Wasp and you're just seeing this really beautiful world, the game looks amazing. The gameplay is fantastic. Master Chief's abilities, the grappling hooks are amazing. I was using all the other abilities as well, which I didn't really use in multiplayer. The ping ability, but you need to use that ping ability to find invisible enemies. I'm using... When me and the Marines were going to storm a banished base, I'd lower the big door for them, and the Marines would be started fighting, and I'd throw down like the big shield, and it was just really, really epic. Really, really enjoyed it. And I was using the dodge ability, but upgrading that to its max, so when you dodge, you went invisible. That was really handy for fighting hunters, because hunters are fucking brutally hard in this. And elites are really hard in this as well. I was actually scared of elites playing this. Every time I saw an elite, I was like, oh god. Which I haven't had that in a Halo game for a while. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I would have liked the story to have been a bit longer. But other than that, yeah, I was really really surprised, and like I'm so happy that they've nailed it. They really have, and it's a live service game now. It's going to get supported for 10 years. I think season 2 on the multiplayer is going to be in May. They're going to start adding online cooperative, which is a shame it wasn't there at launch, but when it comes, it's going to be even more special. It just got a Players' Choice Award at the Game Awards, which is basically, in my opinion, Game of the Year. That's basically the players saying it's their Game of the Year. It Takes Two got Game of the Year, but that's more for the critics. But It Takes Two was my favourite game this year. It was easily that and Forza, and Kena as well, or Kena. But I think if I had to pick one, it would have been It Takes Two, because me and my girlfriend really enjoyed playing that together. But Halo's really good. I suppose I should talk about things that I didn't like. So I kind of wish that the game had a mini map. I found it quite, and this is just a nitpick, but you got the radar in the bottom left corner. The bottom right corner doesn't have anything. It's the perfect place for just put a little circular mini map so you can see where you're driving. You can see how far you are away from the waypoint that you've just put down. I was getting a bit bored of pressing the button to bring up the map to see where I was going. Just a little mini map there would be perfect. But like I say, it's just a nitpick. The marine AI was really clumsy and annoying. You'd call in a warthog from the fob, and just before they drop the vehicle, like a marine would dive under the car and get killed. They also got caught on environments, and sometimes they wouldn't even get in the car when you pulled up next to them and beep your horn. They would just stand there. So they kind of annoyed me a bit, but I would have thought the Marines would have evolved a bit more, and they were very much like Halo 1's Marines. They just were just sort of cannon fodder. It would be nice if you play on hard or legendary that the Marines sort of level up as well. Like, that would have been cool. I also would have been able to give them orders, like stay with the car, stay in the vehicle, because when you get out and you go and do something, you come back, they've all gone. But again, that's just a nitpick. I would have liked to have seen more environments. There wasn't a time where I was like in a snowy area or a desert area. It was very much, and maybe this is just the way because the way the game is built, but this was just basically it's just a forest sort of mountainy area. The whole game is just what you're seeing here. Basically, it's just that. Now, if you can see up in the ring there is snow and ice and stuff like that. So maybe in another part of the campaign, we're going to go to another part of the ring, and it'll be a different sort of terrain. But I would have liked to have seen like a snowy area or a deserty area, But again, it's just a nitpick. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. I really did. I was really, really pleased with it, and I think 343 should be definitely given a pat on the back for pulling it off, because I was really worried about it. I was. I think a lot of people were, to be honest with you, and I think people. A lot of people didn't like Halo 5. I don't really know what people thought about Halo 4, but I imagine it was mixed. But Halo 5 was a really dark time in this franchise, and it's really, really good to see that they've sort of pulled it back, and they've really released a really, really good campaign. And I made a video the other day before it came out. I did a pre-video before the game was even out, and I was talking about my worries about the game, and the fact that I've been watching reviews like Skill Up, and he was basically, being really negative on it, and saying that the open world didn't work and all this, and I disagree with everything he said, but I was sort of taking on board his negative stuff, and I was going, oh my god, and I made the video, and then halfway through my playthrough I was like, I'm going to delete that video because I'm actually really enjoying this. So yeah, it's a great game. I recommend anyone who's got an Xbox should be playing this. It's a great foundation. I hope it's going to get supported for a long time. I hope it's going to get good content. I hope that they are listening to feedback. They're listening to the fans. They're listening to feedback. But I'll be jumping in the multiplayer now and again, but I really want to focus on the single player content. That's where I'm going to be spending most of my time. But yeah, I loved it. I really did. Really good game. I'm very surprised, and it was just such a relief to be like, fucking hell, thank God, they've made a good Halo campaign at last. So yeah, really enjoyed it. I'm probably gonna jump on a bit of it now actually, and maybe try and start a legendary run. We'll wait and see. But anyway, just wanted to come on and have a little bit of a chit chat and talk about it because I was concerned about the game, but it's all good. It's all good. The game's good. The game's great. So we'll see on the next one. I was going to stream it, but the way that they launched it as well was a bit weird. You couldn't preload it, so I just wanted to jump in and play it. But I will be playing and streaming the multiplayer. But it means I can start Cyberpunk now. So we'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again.